like because I don't like I so was like no, I was so tired like leading up to that, and that was like a shot of caffeine to
Right.
my system that I was like, you know what? I don't care. I will I will muster up and do because we're talking about episode 4 of The Penguin. Is it Shaitani is I guess the title of it, you know, when
Yeah.
she toasts the
Yeah, the
family.
toast.
So good. Give her the Emmy now.
Incredible.
Give her
Just
the Emmy now.
100%. The whole episode, but then her speech at the table, like that that's just outstanding television. That's just incredible.
s- it's probably one of my favorite episodes. I mean, like that's
Yes.
probably one of my favorite episodes. She's so good in it. And that we up till now we've known her as almost kind of like this dead-eyed, almost like psychopath. Isn't she? You know, like you did have your doubts on whether or not she was the hangman. Um, but very cold, very she had this look in her eye like she could snap at any moment. And then them showing her going from fresh face innocent, especially with the lighting, even at the beginning, like
Yes.
with like it was everything's bright and everything's yellow and sunny and everything's great in Gotham and la 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 la. And like, oh, it
In my opinion, she's no longer the villain of this show. Anything that she does is 100% justified. Like, as the episode progressed, I'm like, there is no way. Like, I knew that they sent her to Arkham. Like, you could
Mhm.
just
Right,
conversation pieces dropped throughout the show. You knew that, oh, she was sent there and she probably didn't do it, or there was some shady business. But
right.
having watched the episode, she can do no wrong. Whatever she does, they deserved it. I don't care.
It was it was so uncomfortable to watch.
Yes.
Oh, like the part where she's first of all, you give her an Emmy for the scene where she's talking to her lawyer and the realization
Yes. Yes.
starts to set
Starts this.
in
Yes.
that you're not getting out. Like you're not getting out, or they are, if she had said, like, he's trying to kill me. Like this is him. He's behind all of it. He knows I'm not going to survive this. And she, just like it's that scene alone, it was just like, go ahead, give it to her.
Yeah.
And then the of her being her identity being stripped away with her clothes being taken off and the
That was
shower and
rough.
the oh
Like you said, uncomfortable. Like that is how the whole episode felt. Like that specifically. And then with the fork, when they wanted her to attack the one woman and then she didn't, but then you saw like they used that
right.
to
Yeah, we're gonna
frame
go ahead and
her.
say there's gonna be a lot of spoilers in this because we're not gonna hold
Oh,
back
yes.
because like this we've all seen it. So I'm like, if you haven't, don't listen to the rest. We haven't given away anything so far, but I mean, like, well, I guess,
Right.
but we're going to. And the
Yeah.
fact is, like, you find out that she is not, in fact, the hangman, that it was more likely her father. They didn't really exactly say that, but they're all
And he killed the
signs
mother.
point right. All signs point to, and you kind of find out. I mean, we're getting ahead of ourselves, but I mean, like that scene where she's being stripped, and then the scene with the electro shock,
Oh,
and that went on for 6 months. So she loses her identity, and then she starts to lose time.
yes.
Like the two things, like just she starts to lose all of that, and oh, the montage of them cutting from her being shocked to then her going back to her cell and pulling and like peeling away. And it's like, first, I didn't know what was on those walls
Yeah.
until you realize that she's losing her grip on reality and finds herself in her mother's room with the
Hmm.
body, but whew,
It
that
just it's almost like the Book of Boba Fett, a show that was very mediocre, but like the best episode was the episode that was a Mandalorian episode.
Right.
That's how I feel about this, except I don't think the Penguin has been bad. I actually think
Right.
every episode has been great, but this one that had the Penguin in it, but it was so focused on Sofia Falcone has been the best episode by far. It's not close. I was looking at the early ratings on IMDb, and I realized it's been like 2 hours, 3 hours, 2 hours since it's been uploaded, but it had a 9.9 out of 10 rating.
Oh,
I think it will drop a little bit, but I don't see it going below like a 9.7. Like, just
blown
phenomenal.
away. Blown away. Like that. eh, and then like, yeah, I mean, just, and then like, they did, I did look up while the episode was going on. Obviously, Magpie is a DC character. She is actually in the Suicide Squad. And Ventress,
I
there is a
wondered.
Ventress with that last the spelling that they use because I always watch everything on closed caption because I don't see how people don't. But I mean, like with that spelling, there's a Mirror Man who was in. I guess not. I guess he was a Batman villain at that time, and I
Yes.
think he's called Mirror Man. But that the name is spelled that way. I don't think that that's. They didn't seem like that were they were using him for that. But I mean, the spelling was the same. I know I haven't seen a Julian Rush in. Um, that's the other doctor, the one that kind of probably believed her, or at least believed something hinky was going on
Yeah.
at that time. I haven't seen anything in the DC comics that's an actual, I mean, as far as the comics go, obviously on the show he's a character, but I mean like, yeah,
I've
so
been looking for Hugo Strange to be mentioned at all, but obviously so far that hasn't happened yet. I don't know if this is before his time
right. Yeah,
or
I kept I because I knew I wasn't fully paying attention when they had announced who the doctors were, and I thought, oh my gosh, maybe this is we're
right.
getting the, and then I was like, and then when they said Ventress, I was like, oh, okay. So I was like, well, let's see how this is spelled. And they spelled it different than the Ventress, but then it was, yeah. But that scene, that the electroshock, that's
The electroshock scene was rough. The scene where Magpie took the drugs for the first time and you could just see her character just go
slip
into
away.
that
Yeah.
state. And having seen the other episodes and seen what Bliss does and everything, it was just again beautifully shot the way they shot it, the way they edited it. It was a depressing episode, but it kept me at the edge of my seat. And I think you saying it made you uncomfortable. Like that is the perfect description of that episode because that is pretty much how I felt from start to finish. Like, just, yeah. And then you look at Penguin and you now get the conversation from when the not the Falcons, when the
Maroni's.
Maronis had
Hmm.
them at gunpoint. So
Yeah.
at this point, she knows that Penguin can't be trusted. And I mean,
Right.
after everything he told
Hmm.
her last episode, which again was 10 minutes
Right.
before they walked outside, and he was ready to turn on her in a second. Like, I know it was a week later, but in the
Right.
world of the show, he told her like, yes, I did turn you in. I don't regret it because I made something of myself, but you can trust me. We're in this together. I will earn my trust back every day. They walk outside, smoke a cigarette. 10 minutes later, he's like, no, this is yours. No, no, trust me. I don't even care about her. I'm like, dude.
He's like, let's the
Oh, right.
and I have to say, when he kept saying, like, I don't regret turning you in, for the longest time, I did think that he meant turning her in as the hangman. And then you
Right.
find out in this episode that all he really did was turn her into her father as far as the journalist goes.
Yep.
So that like that was like, oh, okay. So and I found it interesting that like I guess part of everything that she went through with Penguin at the beginning of that episode with, like the shooting and her being knocked, and all of that was it seemed like because when you do finally get catch after you go through her Arkham journey, and then she
Hmm.
kind of comes to at her psychiatrist house, it's almost like she kind of things like her memory kind of returned. I don't want to say
Yeah.
like that she started to put like maybe things that she had kind of lost during the shock therapy,
Hmm.
s- everything came back, and that was when it was like I'm done playing, like
Yeah.
and done playing this game with
Yeah.
everybody around me. Like
Yeah, she's done
I'm
beating around the bush. I think she had made it somewhat clear that she wanted to be more important and then in her own mind take over fully, but she was kind of being more somewhat subtle about it. But yeah,
right.
after that, she was like, I'm gonna lay my cards on the table.
You're right.
Like,
Yeah, when the memory returns that everybody in her family, like all those people had done, like character witnesses
except for her
about her
brother.
being insane,
Yeah.
except for her
Who's
brother,
dead.
who's dead, who was killed by, like killed by the penguin. So
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, it was almost like because I love that in that moment she had when she comes to at her psychiatrist home, and it's kind of that she's got no makeup on, she is
Hmm.
stripped down, she's bare, and it's the now I'm coming into my own kind of thing,
Yeah.
like, and now I'm
The
going to
facade of the calm woman that she had been putting on since she got out of Arkham
right,
was gone.
right.
This was
Eh,
the real her now. The her that was created because of all of these people.
yeah, and
And it's
uncomfortable
like
too.
I realized during her Emmy winning speech when she was basically calling all of them out,
Right.
I really hate to like stick up for them. I really hate to stick up for them, but they didn't I feel like they didn't really have a choice. Like your dad
Mhm.
sold out his own daughter who was planning to
Right,
take over in a heartbeat. If he was like, "Hey, I
right.
need you guys to write letters to the judge or whatever and say she's
Yeah, like what are they gonna
unstable,"
do?
what are they gonna? I don't think so. Like he sold out his daughter in a heartbeat. It
Right,
is nothing. Oh, you don't want to write a letter and do it? I say, okay, cool. You're gonna end up in a cell with her.
right next to her.
Again, not to defend them. Again, they got what was coming to them, but it's like in that line of business, their hands were kind of tied.
Yeah, yeah, they were, but it's like it's one of those things thinking like either she's never going to get out or
Right.
she's going to
Yeah.
be killed in
They assumed
prison.
they would never see her again.
Right. And I think they said and even in the show that it's only been like a few weeks since she's been out.
Hmm.
Yeah, so it's like that's a few weeks since she's been out, since it's been a few weeks since even since her dad, I guess, has been killed.
Hmm.
Yeah, so
Do you
yeah,
think when the one guy that's running things right now told her to like go to Sicily, were they planning to Godfather her, or were they actually going to just leave her alone if she left?
I think both. I mean, like it seems to me they because again, I feel like it's almost like they everybody kind of knew that her memory, I guess, hadn't fully been back. So
Yeah.
she didn't understand the depth, like she knew she wasn't the hangman.
Hmm.
But I mean, like she did commit murder in jail.
Yes.
So she and everybody around her, she didn't, I don't think I think she thought that everybody around her thought she was the hangman.
Hmm.
Um, again, because I don't think she remembered, I guess, the very details of her that night that she went in the ordinance and being in there and talking to her lawyer and all that stuff that had happened and just her constantly proclaiming her innocence about it. So I think they were kind of like, well, if she goes away, we won't have to, we won't have to worry about her anymore.
Right.
But if she doesn't, then she's too loose of a can, like she has been to Arkham. She is a little crazy. We gonna have to do something
Yeah.
with her if she refuses to go. Because I mean, like, I mean, I don't know if they knew she was still seeing the therapist after she had gotten out.
I don't think they did. I don't think they do because he clearly, even though he was complicit in the activities at Arkham, he
Right.
had a somewhat of a moral compass, and you could
And he
tell he
quit.
was conflicted and he quit. Yeah.
Yeah,
So I doubt that they would, because obviously they're kind of big on tying up loose ends.
right.
So I doubt that they know that, hey, one of the guys that was treating me that apparently helped get her out based off what he said. I doubt they know that she's been seeing him.
That she's been seeing, that she's been going over to his,
Yeah. Well,
she's been going
and
to,
then the scene with Oz when I mean, and it goes back to his whole character in this world of Gotham, where he
Mhm.
drives the flamboyant purple car because he has money, but he wants people to know that he has money,
Right.
and he was the driver and he made something of himself. But after he snitched to her dad and he was in the party, not just in the party, but with a new coat, and they like made the comments. He's like, "Oh, is that a new jacket?" Like you could see then that even though all he did was snitch to the dad, it's like he snitched and immediately like took advantage of that position, went
Oh,
into
yeah.
the party, put on a new coat. And I like what they've done with his character in this show, the way that they are going about adding layers to it. You were her driver, she kind of disrespected you in the car. You snitched on her to the dad, which technically was your job. And with like you immediately you're at the next party with a brand new coat. Like
Hmm.
that it just it's
And
things
she
like
says to
that.
him, "What are you doing inside?" Like he's a dog.
Exactly. You are the help.
Right. What are you doing in here? Like, what
Yeah.
are you doing inside? It was like,
Yeah. The writing and the way that they just add layers to these characters and the relationships, just again, it is so good. Like I thought the Batman was pretty good. Better than I thought it would be. A bit of a different angle on Batman than we've seen the other
right.
18 iterations. But this show in particular, just with the way that they changed the Penguin's backstory and how it's making sense with the start of last episode with the flooding and how they're handling Victor and where he's coming from in Gotham, and then now everything with Sofia, but especially this episode. I just this is such a good show. I
Give
absolutely
me
love it.
more or villain origin series.
Yes.
You know, like
Yes.
when you if you know, like you should have done, I mean, Zoe Kravitz, you should have done her Catwoman. Like, I
That would be great.
mean,
That would be great. I would watch all
well,
of that.
I'm sure you have had your fill of
It's
Aubrey.
been
You were
it's
like
been
on even
it's been
I even
good.
thought of you when she showed up in that yellow in this yellow dress at the end of the
Yes.
episode.
I was just like, okay, Sophia, I
I
see
was
you
like,
out here.
oh, that hair. And she was feeling that hair. She was feeling that
Yes.
makeup. I was
Just
like,
gliding through the house.
yeah. And I will say I was a little bit because you don't know, because you now know, like in the present, like how kind of, I don't want to say crazy she is, but I mean, spending that time in Arkham, it's going, I mean, obviously it
It took a
snaps
toll.
something, right? It snaps something in her. I mean, obviously. So when she did walk down the stairs with that little girl, I was just like, what are we doing?
Yes. Again, the uncomfortableness. I, ugh. Now, looking back, you see she was saving her because she
Right,
was one of the
absolutely.
innocent ones. But in that moment, I was like, yo.
It wasn't, I was like, what are we doing? Until she said, let's sleep in here. And when she said, let's sleep in here, I thought, okay, she's either going to set fire to that place, she's going to blow it
Mhm.
up, she's going to go in there and she's going to have like people just mow down. I was like, until she said, let's go ahead and go to sleep in here, I thought, what are we like? When she came down the stairs, I was like, ma'am, what are we doing? And it wasn't until, like I said, like then she makes the comment of like, why don't we fall asleep in here? I thought, okay, she's actually trying to, this is the only one. She's not going to kill a kid. Like she actually has
Yeah.
like some sort of moral code.
There's a little bit of the old Sophia in there
Right.
where she is willing to kill everyone that has wronged her, but not the kids. So no, that was good. So what I mean, I guess it's not really important, but so I guess after the girl fell asleep, she went back in, went down to the AC unit or whatever, and put some sort of chemical in there.
I took it as she had, it was either some chemical or she just turned on the gas
No, yeah, duh.
in the place, or like just, yeah, like just kind of like just
Yeah,
had the carbon monoxide, like
carbon
that.
monoxide.
Yeah, like filtering through. I feel like she kind of did that before she already went to get like, because I mean, obviously a big house, it's a mansion. It's not
That
going to be
makes
like,
sense.
so I kind of thought, okay, she did that first, then went and got the little girl, and that's when because when she got up to go in, like it was already done. Like
And how
I
did
mean,
she?
like,
So she had the window open in the one guy's room because she doesn't want him dead yet, and we'll figure out what the conversation
right.
is. So is that the room that she was smoking the cigarette in, and she left the window open? Because
I
she walked in there and knew that he was alive,
right.
so his window was open. So I guess I'm just like, and again, this is me nitpicking. Like, how were you guaranteed that like he wouldn't be like, oh, it's cold, let me close the window?
Right. Or she was like, I don't, yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't know how, or like maybe she just knows that I don't know that he's just sleeps with the
Yeah.
windows open kind of thing. I don't know. But that was when she walked through with the gas, I like the gas mask. I was just like, this is fantastic.
The
And I'm
gas
guessing,
mask while wearing a floor length ball gown.
I
Just
mean,
the two opposites. Just it
I
was so
mean, hey, I mean, it's about as iconic a look and good Halloween costume as the movie from years ago, Ready or Not, where she's in her wedding dress, some chucks,
yes with the
and she's got the
boots. Yeah,
bandolier
the chucks. Yeah. No,
and
that very much so.
and
Very
holding
much.
the rifle and got the bandolier on. That's
Yes.
to me, that's
No,
um
very, very true. So now the question is, what does she do? Because you've
I
now
think
got a
she's going after
situation.
Oz. I think
She
now
has
it's
to.
I think it's one of those things that she's gonna she's kind of got that Johnny Vitti, I guess. Like she maybe needs him because um she had needed him for the triad meeting, right?
Hmm.
And so I guess she kind of needs him. Like I think it's one of those things of you see how easy it is for me to get to everybody.
Yes, but I think
Everybody.
also she's been gone for a decade.
Right.
So she needs someone that is
Still
in
in the
the
family, right.
in the family, in the know, because while she did kill everyone except for Uncle what's his name, who I assume will be dead soon anyway, she's pretty much the head of the family now. Like
Right.
everyone else is dead, but you're also stepping into a position of power while not knowing the landscape
Right.
of Gotham because again, it's been 10 years. And you're the hangman, so you step in and say, I'm taking over the operation, I'm taking over the family business. There are going to be a lot of people that are like, yeah, we don't think so. Not only are you a psycho killer, but also you're a woman. So we
Right.
can't do it. So
And
I
I
think
think
she needs
she's gonna
Oz.
blackmail. Yeah, I mean, I think she's going to be like, "You've got no choice." But like,
Yeah.
I need a second. I lost. Oz was going to be my second. I already don't trust. I mean, it's true. I don't trust you, but now I hold all the cards in this. So you
Yeah.
either work with me or I literally will kill you and go about this my own way.
Yeah.
So I think like I mean, he doesn't have any power now.
Mm-mm.
And this, everybody's dead. I mean,
Yeah.
like all the rest of his friends and all the Uncle Luke is dead, and his right him like they're all they're all dead. So
And you also have the Maronis. Well, the Maronis aren't really coming after you because the Maronis know that it was kind of Penguin. off doing his own thing. But still, if and when the Maronis do find out that the whole heads like the entire top of the organization got killed overnight, they'll probably try to make a move.
Well, I mean, if there's anybody left, I did see the preview for next week,
Hmm.
and he says like I think he says like I've taken care of one family. I just got one left, which he knows is her. And well, I mean, and at that point he doesn't know yet, I guess, that she's taken out everybody.
Yeah.
But so like they're gonna go to war. Those two are. And especially now that she also knows that he definitely did kill her brother
Yes.
because
Yes.
like that was a
They got right down to business. They said, you came into the prison, you talked to us, you did this, you killed the brother. Like, she pretty much just exposed everything.
yeah, which I think it's like thank you for doing it. I know there's
Yes.
only 8 episodes, but I mean we're on episode 4. Some of these things, our complaint always is stop opening doors without closing a few.
Yeah.
Like if you're just walking down the hall and you're opening all these doors and you're not closing in, like you're going to get to the end of the hallway and everything's going to be like, oh, well, that's in
Yep.
disarray.
Yep.
So start
Mm.
shutting. I mean,
Yes.
don't have it a secret until episode
Yeah.
8 that he
Yeah. So
kills.
his facade has been lifted halfway through. I think that's great. I think we got the episodes of him trying to play both sides.
Mm-hmm.
We knew, we had a feeling that one or both families were on to him,
Right.
because we talked about how he was always thinking one step ahead when the situation was actually already 2 or 3 steps ahead.
Or right.
So you knew eventually his luck was going to run out, and that's what happened. And yeah, like you said, I'm glad that
Yeah.
they ended that part of his journey. They ended that storyline with time
Yeah.
to finish it out. Because
Yeah.
again, not to bring up the Acolyte every week, and it's not the only show, but it's the most recent show
Right.
that opened up so many storylines, and you got to the end and it was like, yeah, there's still way too many things that you've left open. So
Right.
I think that's really good. I'm very curious to see what happens with him and Vic, and the Maronis. I mean, because the new drug is out on the streets now, or yeah, it's in circulation.
Right.
And the Maronis, he offered it to them while he was at gunpoint, but he already offered it to them. The heads of the family for the Falcones are all dead, so it's kind of like they can't really regulate distribution right now.
Right.
So I am very curious to see what chaos has now come
Yeah.
up based off
You
of
got
what
5,
Sofia
6,
did.
7, and 8. You got 4 more. So I mean, like
Yeah,
eventually they're not going to jump into, I mean, they could, but to me, I don't feel like they're going to jump immediately into a war
right.
this next episode. So you got to have something that builds that up. I mean, you've done a good job of having episodes where you've had a glimpse back into every character. I mean, like last week
Hmm.
was Victor's, and then, like you had hers this week, and slowly but surely everything has been kind of Penguin has said, you know, um, like a little bit of his background and everything. It's like once he realizes that she was still alive and that she's made it out, and I mean, he's got to be worried about his mom because
I
I'm
was
sure
gonna
she
say, he
knows.
told Sophia that his mom was dead. I remember in one of their
Okay,
conversations, he mentioned to Sophia before she passed or something like that. But they've shown her one too many times
right,
to not have her. Like, you could say they were just adding character depth, which sure, but I feel like they've been to the house twice now. I think the
right.
Maronis followed him, or they followed Victor. Like, someone is going to find out about her, and
Or they're
that's
going to
when it.
grab his girlfriend because
Oh
she knows
yeah,
about her. Sophia knows about his girlfriend because they were at the club
yeah.
and they were
His
interacting
alibi.
in a loving kind of way there. So it's like he knows that, and
That's still
she
weird to
knows
me.
about Victor.
Yeah. I said that relationship is still weird to me. I mean, I get he's got money and his bedroom is a bank vault, which I think is really cool. But I
The
don't,
door is
I
really
don't,
cool, isn't it?
I like that. That is awesome to me. Bit of a
It is
fire
pretty
hazard,
awesome.
but I think it's really cool. But
Yeah. So I
yeah,
think, yeah,
I'm excited.
it is. It's good. I think, yeah. Like I said, I'm glad that they're moving it along. You had a background story, and still by the end of that episode, you had things moving.
Yes.
It wasn't, and oh, and then she just wakes up at her therapist's office, is like, what happened? Like, and you did an
Right.
entire episode like, oh my God, we've got time here, use it.
This is
So
what good writing looks like.
exactly. Exactly. There's so much that happened that moved the story forward, that moved
Yes.
in the very opening scene, you had her find out about Oz killing her brother. Like you
Yes.
literally
Right there.
in the
Right off the bat.
and then the rest of this, I mean, like and everything was quick. There was not a dull moment. There was never a moment where you were like, well, this is just filler. It was like
Yeah,
everything was, let's get to the end. Speaking of, not to jump, but did you watch last week's Agatha?
I did. I did.
And you want to talk about another episode I don't feel like had any fluff filler. It was,
Yes.
man. And I'm telling you, when those credits rolled, I thought like it felt like that episode was 15 minutes long.
I think it is the shortest episode so far,
It is,
but they
but I knew it
packed a
wasn't 15
lot.
minutes, but it was like it wait a minute. Like I rewound it. I was like, did I miss a chunk? Did I fall asleep? Did I go into a fugue state? What happened? I was like, oh my God, no, that was it. And there
Yeah.
was no, like I said, there was no fluff in it. It was, I mean, if you want to be like, okay, yeah, let's cut out the scene of them flying past the moon, ET style. Oh,
No, that
okay.
was
But I
a
mean,
great shot though.
it was, but I'm like, if you want to be like
Yeah.
ridiculous about it, there still wasn't, like
Yeah.
it was so, oh, that was,
It was so good. You got the cabin in the woods feel. You got the questions. You had to bring a Ouija board in. You've got four, five, six witches on your show. Not having a Ouija board would have just been a criminal. You just so they brought the Ouija board in and the way they utilized it. And I think we had decided before the big reveals that that wasn't her son. The
right.
teen that wasn't her son. And then Rio pretty much solidified it last episode or two
When she
episodes ago.
said, you're not,
It's
yeah,
not yours. I still saw people online saying it was, and I'm like, no, like that she said it was, and
she
wasn't to
literally
misdirect.
said,
Like,
that's
no,
not your
like they
kid.
literally said it's not yours. So,
Right.
but having Nicholas Scratch included in it, and then her mom, and then her being possessed, and then trying to save her, and then pairing the two clips from previous episodes about don't and then try to save Agatha and then putting them together.
Oh, yeah.
She was warning her because she kind of jumps through time and space, or I just and then Catherine Hahn, the way she can change,
Ooh, she creeped me out at the end of that episode when she had him by the
so
chin
good.
and she gave that look. I
Yes,
was like, ma'am,
yes.
I, she gave me such a chill down my spine. I was like,
Hmm.
oh, what are like, oh my, and that whole like, you're just like your mom. I was like,
Yes. Just again, that was episode 5,
I
or was that one 4?
think there was four. Because I
Okay,
think we're
4.
one ahead. Like this week will be five, and this week was for Penguin was four. So I think yeah,
Okay,
that should have been four.
so again, there's 9 episodes because I said they have one extra, even though 8 and 9 air on the same night. So let's just say
Right.
it's one long episode. But we are now halfway through,
And you've moved
and
along.
it's moved along, and I am enjoying it. Like, you gotten the formula. It's Um, you are on the road, then you get to a trial, and the
Right.
trial tests people, and just based off the last couple episodes, you assume that people are going to die each episode. So you kind of have the formula, but it's still
Things are
well
revealed during those things
exactly.
that outside the trial that move the story along.
It is very unique, and I know I've said this for every Agatha review, but they have done a great job of making a super powered show without following the cookie cutter format.
Right.
Because again, this is extremely different, just like WandaVision was.
Hmm.
And the episode, the pacing makes sense, which is something that's been missing from
Right.
Echo, Moon Knight, She-Hulk. Like there's so many things where the pacing is off.
Right.
And then just the writing is good. The thing that annoys me is because I have argued quite a bit with people that people will hate on something simply because it has women or too many minorities in it. And they're
Sure.
like, no, just write good stories. I'm like, but they do that and you still hate on it. And
Right.
then there's this show, and I'm like, okay, well, people aren't really hating on it as I mean, there probably are a few, but it's like it gives those trolls the see, we told you, and it's like, yes, but also no, because you guys hate on it
I've-
regardless. But with this one, when you compare it to Echo, when you compare it to She-Hulk, and then you put Agatha next to it, it's like, no, this show just clears both of them by
right.
miles.
Yeah. It.
And it's almost frustrating because it's like, why couldn't you do that for these other shows? And I think it's very much like you said, is not having as much source material to go off of.
Sure.
I think that's a big part that needs to be acknowledged. But I just the writing and the pacing that was missing from so many other shows. And I remember Kevin Feige had said that they wanted to hire people that knew how to write shows because they had
Right.
originally just been getting writers, like movie writers, TV writers, like whatever, just writers. And there's a specific group of TV show writers that know
Right.
how to pace and build a season for however many episodes. You find
Right.
someone that has experience in 4 episode miniseries or 22 episodes or 8 episodes, like, and you hire that person and say,
Right.
here's our story.
Right. And here's what we've got to accomplish by the end
Yeah.
of it. So yeah, it was just the whole poltergeist, like everything was very poltergeist themed.
Yes.
Um, to the robot, I mean, that they showed, like, you know,
Very the little details.
and the Nicholas Scrat, you hear the little kid say "Mama no"
Oh,
or "Mama stop." Yeah, it
mom,
was mom.
stop. Yeah. Like,
It,
which goes back to do rock stars, because in my mind, I think we knew based off of everything that was said, the stuff you saw in the trailers, Agatha obviously traded her son for the Darkhold. Like
sure.
that at that point, it's not a mystery anymore.
Right.
In my mind, I had just assumed the kid was an infant, a toddler,
Right.
or she was still pregnant at the time. Like I assumed the kid had no idea that he was being sacrificed. And then when you hear his voice, it's like, oh,
Oh,
I,
like, yeah. He better not be a child, like a child. Like that's
oh man,
like, well, that, yeah. No, it'll be
you are
interesting to
evil.
see. Hmm?
I
Over the
said,
dark one.
like, you are evil. Like,
Yeah.
there's no way around it. And then I'm very curious about like the mud that Wiccan, now that we can fully say that it was
Call
Wiccan,
him that, right?
threw them into, and Agatha draining. So when the, I forgot that Agatha wanted them to use their powers on her. Like she tried
Right.
it in
Was taunting
first
them,
or
yes.
second episode. So, but when they started getting attacked, I remember saying each time, I'm like, oh, where's your protection witch? Where's your protection witch? I mumbled that to Sarah every time. So then when the mom possessed her and she was attacking them in the cabin, I literally looked at Sarah and said, "Oh, where's your protection witch?" She immediately jumps in and uses her powers. And I'm like, "Oh, it's about time." And then I immediately like, "Oh, no,
Oh,
no." But
oh
at that point, it
no.
was too late. And like, yeah, it was so good. And obviously, the other witches don't trust her. They haven't trusted her.
Right.
But now that they've seen her take the powers, I am very curious. I mean, obviously, they still have to continue on the road.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Obviously, there's
that's the
still
hard that's the thing is like they're all just still like, well,
they don't have a choice.
we gotta finish this trip with her who's
Yeah,
willing to kill us at any.
at any point, at any moment, she is willing to sacrifice her coven to get her powers back. And I am very curious how that's going to look at the start of the next episode. And the like once they finish beefing with her, the other half of like, also, teen, you have powers now. Like,
Right.
where did
Which
that come from?
he was very careful not to use them on her.
Yes, and I thought that was great because obviously he did that. The show is over and we lose our young
Right.
Avenger. So
Right. He possessed the other two to take care of her, but was very careful and to not. Yeah, and I loved his crown. I love the song, the Billie Eilish
the song
song.
was great. The needle drop right there at the end, like best use of that song. And I know the song's been used quite a bit, but best use of the song by far.
By far, it was, yes. So, are you predicting any Mephisto by the end of the,
That's
are
where
you,
I'm
or even
trying.
Scarlet Witch by the end? Like anything?
I think we will see Scarlet Witch. I don't even have like a full-fledged plan of how we see her. I just think we see her. Um, I don't think we take the Mephisto route. I think they name dropped him, A, because I think the people at Marvel pay attention to the YouTube videos. I think, and I will die on this hill, I believe they put it in there, A, for Eric Voss, B, because I think when you talk about Wiccan and witches and stuff like that, because his backstory involves Mephisto, I think they had to mention him, but I don't think that Marvel is ready to dip into the demonic world per se.
Which is crazy because you're going to have Doctor Doom. And
Exactly.
Doctor Doom and
Doctor Doom
Mephisto
is a witch.
are tied
So,
together. Like as
yeah.
much as you don't want to, it's like, all right, well, you're introducing this world of witches, which is like, okay, Doctor Doom's mother,
Hmm.
that's what she did, and Mephisto is known for snatching up witches and or like holding them hostage or making them part of his soul or splitting off
Yeah.
his soul and making witches and
I don't know if they're ready to go down that path. I think
oh,
they could, they very well could, but the way I'm seeing it, I think they're gonna change the backstory a bit. But
even of Billy Kaplan.
I so
Because that story is just too weird already. So I don't,
because you have to bring in the Fantastic Four and a lot of other stuff, I think, to get his full
yeah, like
backstory.
you have to figure out if he's a part of her. Is he, are they going to make him Wanda's son?
I
Like
think
actual son in this?
I don't think
Is
so.
he a multiverse son? Is he part of her soul that
I think
got,
he's part of her soul.
yeah, that got split off?
Hmm. I think part of her
Um,
soul that got split off, and there was a kid that I think almost died in a car accident or something, and he just happened to fit the mold
Yeah,
Um,
she met him in with death, like maybe they
yeah,
were joined in death together at the same time or something, and she saw her son and him and
yeah.
decide who, yeah, it's the
But
whole
but
story
then
is so
again, you
weird.
start getting into death and all of that, which obviously they are, because death's embodiment is there.
Right.
The way to add Mephisto is there. I just don't know if they're willing to put a whole demon in the show. I guess is, but then again, you look at Moon Knight and they had Egyptian gods and they had the boat to the
Afterlife and
afterlife. Like
hmm.
they've dipped their toes in the water already. So
Oh yeah.
guess I
Yeah.
guess they could. I just think
It's
if they
good.
do, they need to bring that up fairly soon because I don't think you can wait till the finale and then be like, surprise, here's the devil. And
Right.
then the
It's
end.
yeah, but it's one of those, so you brought him up to not do anything with, like, it's like,
Well,
oh,
I mean, that's
here we
their
go
MO
again.
right now. I mean, we literally have White Vision who is just
Well,
off
there's
somewhere.
tons of Marvel characters that are floating around. Like, you still have the one from Secret Invasion, the most powerful being in the friggin' universe. So I mean, like, I know they do it, but it's like they really need to stop doing it unless they're gonna
They
do
do it for
something
fan
with
service, but they've done it just a little too
too
much.
much. Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see how Wednesday, what new, because I think we still have Lilia's
Yeah, and based off the
trial,
trailers, I think
the
that one
Wizard
is
of
going to
Oz.
be a Wizard of Oz one. I think they could do some fun things with it, but I'm curious.
And
I'm curious.
in all honesty, I too did think they were spelling out Mr. Shart. Like
Same.
when they
I I was like Mr. SH. I'm like Sh- Shart,
Mr. Shart.
and then like I said it in my head, and then when I said Shart, the art part, I was like, oh, Mrs. Hart. But I in my head, it was Mr. Shart.
I too, I was like, Mr. Shart. It's like, what
Yeah.
do they do? And then I thought, please don't do Ralph. Please don't let this be the boner joke. I honestly, like, that's the very first thing I thought to was like, oh no, here's another
Yeah.
boner joke. Like, please don't do that. Thank God,
Yeah.
it didn't. But because I was like, and it ended up being, it turned out to be one of the darker episodes with
Mm-hmm.
the possession, her
Yeah.
sounding like the exorcist with that distortion and killing a witch, and like I said,
Draining
her
her life force right there, looking like a character from The Mummy. Like that was my first thought when she dropped to the ground was Emotep. Like that was my first thought was just
right.
draining them and leaving their dead body there.
She was, yeah, Catherine was so good. Like I said, that she just creeped me out when she was just like, "Are you sure?" And I was like,
Yeah.
"Ma'am." So I was like, "You're
Yeah.
weirding, quit. You're weirding me
Yeah.
out." And this was the like, but I mean, like, even with as evil as she is, and she, I don't want to say in a way proved her mom right, but when her mom did say, "I should have killed you the second you were
Oof,
on
that one
mom's,"
hurt. That at that moment,
everybody looked at each other like,
yeah, they're like, "Oh, do
"Dang."
we feel sorry for her?" And for a minute, I did, and then you hear the kid, and then just everything else, and you're like, "Okay, no, you're evil." But someone say maybe your mom made you that way, but I don't know. Your mom knew you were evil from the moment she birthed you, so it's almost like, what did your mom know about you that made her say she should have killed
Right.
you? Was Mephisto involved in her conception? Is that what we're
Right.
getting?
Right. Yeah, because it's like that's pretty dark to be like, I should have killed you as a child, as an infant, as a
Yeah,
baby.
yeah. Because what could she have done so evil at that point that makes you feel that way? Unless you were just saying it to hurt her.
Yeah, saying it as because of what you've become, I regret,
Yeah.
like I look back and regret just not killing. Yeah, it was a dark episode after a few haha chuckle ones. It wasn't
It was
too
Wizard of Oz dark, and then it got really dark.
right. Yeah, all of a sudden, like, you stop laughing, you're like, damn,
Yeah.
this stuff is
Yeah. It
stuff
got
is hurt.
real, real quick.
This is hurtful. So
Yeah.
yeah, lots to. like I said, two good shows, two very different, but the common thing about them is they are moving the ball down the court, and this is what we
Yes,
love to see. So
love to see that.
love to see it.
I
Anything else
hope
you got
they,
for?
I hope all studios, I hope Marvel takes notes on their own show. I hope they take notes on the Penguin. I hope the people that are still at Disney over at the Star Wars department are like looking over and they're like, oh, that's how you write a show? Like, oh, okay,
Right,
cool. Like, I hope
exactly.
everyone is taking notes because two different shows with very different themes and different characters that
Different
are
audiences, types of
different
audiences.
audiences that are flawlessly showing you how to tell a good story and to move the story forward in
The
a
story.
8 to 9 episode format. Like
Yes.
this is how
Yes.
you do it.
And shutting doors as you're opening them. Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. Yes. So on that lovely high note, we are going to end this because
Yes.
it's been good TV and we
It has.
can't really do, expound on that more than what we have
Yeah.
already. So yeah, I look forward to next week after all and see, how much further we go here in the next week. So
Yeah.
that'd be good. All right. Until then, bye.
See ya.